Hello, friends. I am Chevee. Welcome to my shed. How are you today? How's life in your world? How's things where you are? I hope it's fantastic. Everything here is great. Doing something a little different this week. We're talking about 5 movies that changed me, that had a profound impact on me in some way, shape, or form. Some of them have been very emotional and gripping and changed me like a traditional story would. Others have just changed me, changed my understanding of how storytelling or visual storytelling can be created. I grew up wanting to make movies. But I grew up in the '80s, and my parents were probably below median income, and we didn't have a VHS camera or any way to do this sort of thing. But I loved studying it, and I dreamed of it, and I made props, and I made whatever. And so today we're going to talk about a movie that had a profound impact on me called Eraserhead. This is a film by David Lynch. This is not the first David Lynch film I saw. First of all, I grew up, I was young, but I remember Twin Peaks. And I loved it, even though I didn't quite get it because it was a little too adult for me. But I liked the quirkiness of it. And I fell in love with David Lynch because of the quirkiness of it. So if you ask me my favorite director, I would say probably David Lynch. Kubrick and David Lynch are tied, but I would probably pick Lynch over Kubrick just because Kubrick's storytelling is pretty plotted, but his visuals are amazing. Lynch does it all. He does these weird, quirky, just very esoteric films. Eraserhead was a film he made while studying at the Film Academy in California, I think. AFI's Academy. And he basically just kind of didn't go to school, and he made this movie. And it took him like years and years and years. He would film little bits and pieces of it whenever he could find the money to buy film or buy props or put stuff together, and he would just piece this movie together. And this was the first movie that I saw that showed me that it was possible. It was possible for a nobody to make a movie. It was possible. You just had to just have the guts, have the gusto, have the everything. Go for it. Do the thing, right? After this movie, I chased watching a lot of these sorts of things. El Mariachi was an $8,000 movie that turned into a multi-million-dollar franchise that made just tons of money. Clerks, obviously. There's a lot of these kind of stories of something that became a launch pad for a career because the person just put in the work. And that's this movie. Also, as I mentioned yesterday during The Secret Adventures of Tom Thumb, I was really on a kick finding kind of silent films. And this is one of those movies where there's no dialogue. Tom Thumb didn't have dialogue. This doesn't have dialogue. There's some noises. And there is definitely some... Anyway, the point is, this is a movie told through character's expression, character placement in scenes, scene structure, meaning the set structure. It tells a story, and it's a very good, interesting story that you have to figure out on your own. Nothing's given to you here. And in fact, I would say that there's a few different interpretations of this. Whether you take it one way or another is completely up to you, and I think that's the intention. It's kind of like visual poetry. It's like, here's a thing, you figure out what it means, because I'm not going to tell you. You figure out how this was done, because I'm not going to tell you. That's another thing about this. There is some behind the scenes for this. However, there's this weird baby thing in here. Maybe this is the real reason. So Tom Thumb was this weird baby thing. There's a weird baby thing in here. And David Lynch has never revealed how he made the weird baby thing. The actors don't know how he made it. Nobody knows how he made it. It moves very strange. It's a very interesting thing on film. And I loved for a while trying to figure out what it was, how he went about doing this. Again, this movie didn't necessarily impact me emotionally, but it did impact my creative mind and make me think about how stories are told. And I love watching it. I'll watch it anytime. I can watch it over and over again and not get sick of it. It's just a very visually pleasing thing with a little bit of a horror twist and some odd scenes. Okay, that's Eraserhead from David Lynch. Thank you for being here as always. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, being amazing friends and wonderful people. I really appreciate you. And I'll see you again tomorrow. Today's 1,000 plus little things happy, successful people do differently. We are now on to finding gratitude when everything goes wrong. This is 6 ways to find gratitude when everything goes wrong. Number 1, find gratitude around difficult people. We expect people to treat us kindly, fairly, and respectfully, but the reality is some people won't. We will lose their tempers. They will lose their tempers or act foolishly, regardless of how we treat them. This must be accepted. Don't lower your standards, but do remind yourself that removing your expectations of others, especially those who are being difficult, is the best way to avoid being disappointed by them. When you're forced to deal with a difficult person, you can be grateful for having other people in your life who are far less difficult. You can be grateful for having a way to practice being better at patience, communication, and tempering your expectations. You can think of this person as a teacher who is inadvertently helping you grow stronger as a person, and at the very least, you can be grateful for them because they serve as a great reminder of how not to be. Again, like I talked about yesterday during the gratitude portion, there's nothing to forgive because this person is just teaching you a lesson. They just don't know that. They don't know the lesson. They're just presenting an obstacle and you're growing because of it, because you're able to just kind of let it go. I had a friend a while ago that I didn't, when I first met him, I thought he was not a great person. And later we talked about that, and I told him that I thought he was not a great person when I first met him, and then I found out he was okay, and he was a cool dude. And his thought process was, I try to remember I don't know your story, and if I keep that in mind, I can weather almost anything, because I don't know what that person's been through today. I don't know what that person's been through in their life. They're treating you the way they're treating you because that's what life has taught them, and you can accept that and not choose to hold a grudge. It's a good lesson.